Welcome, Semyon Germanovich, to the show. How's it going today? Did I say that right?
Yeah, you know that.
That's right. Germanovich. Germanovich. What country are you from? What is that? Did I say that right?
Originally from Russia. Yeah,
Russia.
you know that. Yeah.
Nice, 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 nice. Cool, cool. So yeah, we're here to talk about Anyhedge, which is a new. Um, some people call it DeFi on Bitcoin Cash. Some people argue it's not quite DeFi on Bitcoin Cash. So we're gonna settle that once and for all. But first, we'll just I'll kind of show you what it is here. And so this is DeFi, or sorry, this is Detoken, and you have it's a very simple interface. It's pretty awesome, and basically you can hedge or long the Bitcoin Cash price here, and so it's really cool to me because you can do this while you have your own keys the whole time. Like Dtoken never is in control of the Bitcoin Cash, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We never touch your crypto. You're always in control of your coins. Um, we can't at all intercept your wallet password or anything like that because we built a fully non-custodial web wallet, and all the transaction signing happens in the wallet.
The transaction happens as well. Yeah. So how this works is, I'm sure you can explain a little bit better though. But basically, if I'm about to, let's see, the price is at 420 right now, so I'm gonna throw in this long here while we're streaming. Okay, so I got 0.63 Bitcoin Cash. I'm gonna throw into a long, and it's a 3-to-1 margin long, right? And so I click start long, and it has this information right here. So I will admit I got liquidated yesterday because I was long from like 500 something. So can I get a refund, or like how does that work?
You're gonna have to speak to the manager.
Speak to the manager. All right, I'll speak to the manager about that. But yeah, if I start here at 419.95, my liquidation is 314, and the margin is 3-to-1, and the value is right there. And so I'm gonna click confirm,
I hope
and
this works.
yeah, there you go. Got my long position. So we'll only show the active here. But yeah, so this actually creates a Bitcoin Cash transaction, right? But is it broadcasted when I click that, or
Absolutely. So how it works is in the background, whilst you're making that contract, we create a special uh, script on the Bitcoin Cash blockchain, and that script is redeemed essentially when your contract expires or the price goes below your liquidation price, and you make a special detoken funding transaction seamlessly in the background to the script. So there's two parts to it. There's the script on the blockchain, which you can view there. It's the contract address. And you've also got a special transaction, which you can also view, in which you actually pay the money into the script. So the script is just an address, really, in simple terms.
cool? Yeah, so this is the transaction right here. And so it went to this address, and this address created this transaction, which so I put in 0.63, I believe. And so I believe that's this one. I believe that's this one right here. I'm not really sure exactly. And then again, like I know it's like very technical when it gets to this point, but
I could explain everything. So
go for it.
uh, you have, if you look on the outputs, that big output at the zeroth index, that goes to the contract. And then you've got a little bit there that pays, you've got a little bit there that pays to the, to any, to Anyhedge, right? There's a bit that pays to Anyhedge. So that would be at number one. And then the rest is the transaction change. So in every transaction, you have at least the amount that goes to the contract, to this script hash that we made, and then you've also got the amount that goes to Anyhedge, to general protocols. So how it works is you're actually paying general protocols and Dtoken on chain, right? Which is pretty cool. And it's included as part of the funding transaction and part of the cost of entering the contract.
Oh wow, that's is really cool. So these two right here, the any towards Anyhedge and Detoken.
Yeah, the first one there that you have the little number 1, 2,
Yeah,
that goes to Anyhedge, and the rest is the change. You actually pay Detoken in a slightly different way by we do a bit of magic on the inputs and the outputs, so you don't actually see it.
gotcha. Cool. That's pretty awesome. I didn't realize any hedge was getting paid out of that. That's really cool. And so, yeah, if we go back to this is the contract that I just did, and there's a D token fee right here, 0.3%. There's a premium here, and so I noticed that this actually can fluctuate. This premium right here, it can actually be positive on a hedge or long, and I'm guessing that's based on like what other people are doing at the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So how it works is if loads of people are taking longs and not so many people are taking hedge positions, people who take hedge positions will get paid. Likewise, if loads of people are taking hedges and not so many people are taking longs, you get paid for taking the long and you have to pay for taking the hedge. And when we have high demand on both sides, we charge to enter both of those positions, which is the situation that we have right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I did notice that. So, I mean, it's only 17 cents to hedge right now, and it's $8 to hedge one Bitcoin Cash. And I noticed at one point they were both positive as well. I've seen that before where they're both positive to take a position on either way. So you could, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could kind of play with that premium and make some money. Basically, it's kind of like being like a liquidity provider, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're right now we have a private liquidity pool which we're working to make it open so anyone with Bitcoin Cash can put some Bitcoin Cash into the liquidity pool and become a liquidity provider. Right now in the super early alpha stage, we're the only liquidity provider. And we have a configuration that we can mess around with, but right now we've set it up so that we can get as much volume open as possible.
Gotcha. So eventually we'll be able to farm Bitcoin Cash, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
So, talk to me how that works. That's pretty cool because I mean, like when people say DeFi, they think about like Uniswap, and this is basically like feels like a Uniswap front end, a very basic part of it. Obviously, I know you guys are probably going to be putting tokens in here as well, and so before we get to that, so like liquidity, would you have to put in like USD and Bitcoin Cash? Because usually in a liquidity pair on DeFi, you have to put in both USD and the other asset.
At the moment, you only have to put in Bitcoin Cash if you're a liquidity provider for the Anyhedge contract. It works that way because only Bitcoin Cash is involved and all amounts are settled in Bitcoin Cash and BCH. What's interesting is with a traditional liquidity pool like the one that Uniswap offers, what happens is you can suffer from impermanent loss where one of the assets goes up in price. For example, you're providing liquidity for ETH DAI. So that's Ethereum traded against the stablecoin DAI. And if the price of ETH goes up, the amount of Ethereum that you have left after that increase in price is actually less. Whereas in the Detoken liquidity pool, it's really interesting because although we have this impermanent loss, it's actually half an effect because, or even less, because you have a big hedge side which is 3 times bigger than the long side.
Yeah.
The hedge side will conserve the USD value of your. It will conserve the USD value. So you can lose money and you can gain money. You don't have any dollar stability there, which is similar with what Uniswap offers.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, that's it's pretty sweet how like I mean obviously like in Uniswap it's all smart contract based, but this is just like in a Bitcoin Cash transaction. That's like and this is usually using some opcode that's not in BTC, right? Like this is only possible in Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, this is only possible on Bitcoin Cash. And another reason, apart from the opcodes, is because we have really low fees on Bitcoin Cash. Every time someone enters a contract, there's at least 2 transactions involved, which happen very quickly and they happen after each other. And if you had to pay a $3 or $4 fee on each of those, it would just not be possible. And that's why we chose to go on Bitcoin Cash.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So yeah, we can see my liquidation here. So I threw $100 in and We'll check it out. I threw it in at 594. You know, you got to buy the top, and it liquidated at 442. And so if we go check out, oops, I think, wait, oh yeah, details, and then view on Block Explorer, and then this is my liquidation transaction. So basically on the 10th, 0.668 went in, and so that's, let me look again. So
what happened there is you were liquidated, and the full amount that you put in went to the hedge side of that transaction.
So basically, when I 3 times long, that other two, say I long one Bitcoin Cash, the other two Bitcoin Cash comes from your liquidity provider, right? And so that's locked up for that same period, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you long one Bitcoin Cash, then the liquidity pool will provide you with 3 Bitcoin Cash on the hedge side. And likewise, if you hedge one Bitcoin Cash, you get 0.333, a third of a Bitcoin Cash on the long side provided to you by the liquidity pool.
Gotcha.
And what's super interesting is yesterday we had our first 7 liquidations, and it all happened very close to one another because of the volatility in the market. We had never had any liquidations before since the public launch of Detoken.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's because these are 24-hour contracts, and obviously that's super limited right now. And so I mean, to be liquidated on a 3 times leverage, you need like a 30% move basically, right? And so 30% downward move. And so yeah, that happened yesterday. So yeah, tell me about your future plans for this, because like obviously it's super limited with only a 24-hour contract and a 3-to-1 leverage. So are you opening to like putting in a leverage slider, or like what's going to happen with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're kind of ready to do anything that our users want us to do. And there's a lot of potential ways we can take, potential places we could take Detoken. I think right now we've been focusing on making sure that it's as stable as possible because we have had server issues. We've done a fantastic job in the first 10 days of launch. We've onboarded over 1,000 users, over 250 of which have made contracts. And we've done sort of 60, 70, $80,000 of volume a day. So that's been super strong. I think next up we'll be focusing on launching a 7-day contract, which is a highly requested feature. We'll probably look at adding the option to exit your contract anytime, which I think is going to be a big deal. It's very difficult because this kind of thing has not really been done before. So we need to be very careful when we're working out, how do we make that happen? How much does it cost to exit a contract to make sure that this liquidity pool thing is stable? But where I really want to take is I want anyone anywhere in the world to be able to farm Bitcoin Cash and participate in the liquidity pool, because that adds another really interesting angle to it, and it kind of uncaps the product in terms of how much you can grow.
Yeah, I mean that's huge. I mean, so say you're like farming, you put one Bitcoin Cash in. I mean, obviously the APR will probably fluctuate greatly, but I mean, you just earn interest on your Bitcoin Cash. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, because if you think about it, we have so much BCH just lying around doing nothing. And if we can put it to work and deliver value to real people who want to open contracts or might want to buy options, whatever it is, I think that's going to be very powerful. It's going to be something we haven't had in BCH yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. We did have a question. Can you describe the software stack you're using?
Yeah, absolutely. So we use a couple of open source tools. Probably the thing that saved us the most time was ElectrumX or Fulcrum, which is the backend that powers Electron Cash, the desktop wallet. That's a super awesome piece of software which powers the backend for our wallet. Everything else we made, with the exception of some of the libraries we used. So we used a library made by Anyhedge, which was written in JS. Everything else we wrote ourselves. We designed ourselves. The wallet that you see in the browser, it was made by Detoken. It was designed by Detoken, and it was tested by us as well. I think it's a good mix of open source code and proprietary code. Our server is proprietary, so it's currently closed source, and our client is open source. It's written in React.js and Redux, for those of you who are interested. And I hope that in the future we can open source our server or as much of it as possible to kind of maintain some defensibility to Detoken. But the idea is that anyone should be able to provide liquidity and anyone should be able to participate in these contracts, not necessarily through our interface, but maybe through the Electron Cash wallet, maybe via a plugin or maybe via another wallet like bitcoin.com.
Nice. One really cool thing I wanted to show is that you guys support ZeroConf, which is really awesome. So like, so $10. Here we go. Sent, and there it is. Like, that's awesome. And now you can just like go straight degen and just like 3 times leverage along that like that. I think that's awesome because that's literally the only exchange. Like, if you want to call yourself an exchange, which I mean you are, you're kind of you're exchanging value, right? It's the only one that does ZeroConf for Bitcoin Cash. I mean, that's got to be like the fastest any crypto to exchange like is out there, like for any crypto. So I think that's like super awesome that you guys do that. And so maybe you guys will have some double spend attempts. We'll see.
I mean, double spending is interesting. People have already tried to double spend us, and it's impossible because the contracts happen on chain and it's a transaction involving 2 parties. So every funding transaction which powers the contract is a multi-party transaction, and as you may know, it either happens or it doesn't happen. So if someone does try and double spend us, then it won't happen, and no one will lose or gain any money. So we're using Bitcoin Cash as best as we can. We're exploiting it to its maximum potential. We've got the ZeroConf, you can trade straight away. We have, by nature of the design of DCH, we have double spend protection. So it's a very safe and stable system. The risk areas, they're quite scoped at the moment to smart contract vulnerability and the security of our wallet. And those are the things that we invested most of our time into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. That's because Bitcoin Cash is, I mean, because it's on chain that you can use ZeroConf. I never thought about it like that. So like exchanges just can't have a different risk profile for doing ZeroConf because none of their transactions or exchanges are on chain. So yeah, that's really cool. That's really awesome. And so yeah, so like into the future. So I know you wanted to do like a 7-day contract next. You guys are gonna support other tokens, other coins? What's the plan for those?
Well, we want Detoken to be a portal for all kinds of BCH-based DeFi, so you can access all the DeFi products that there are on BCH through Detoken. And I think as and when there are more serious products available, which really solve real user needs and work well, we'll implement them on to Detoken. And SLP is something we're definitely looking at. It is on our roadmap to add SLP tokens to Detoken. The only thing we're really waiting for is to find a clear use case with real demand. For those of you who don't know, I was building an exchange called CryptoPhil before, and it went well, and we had good volume and people were using it, but the demand for the demand for the product and the kind of volume we had, it doesn't even compare with how many people want to use something like Detoken for trading derivatives and buying contracts.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. SLP hasn't really found its niche yet, but I heard maybe there's some integration with the Flex USD. Maybe Flex USD and Flex are 2 of the biggest SLP tokens by market cap. So I don't know if you know anything about that.
We're not far away from adding atomic online and offline SLP swaps. It's something we've spent a lot of time on, and if the market wants it and our users ask for it, there's no reason why we won't add them.
Gotcha. And so some people call it. I saw somebody respond to my tweet and they said it's not really DeFi, it's non-custodial CeFi. What do you have to say to that?
I think that's a really interesting point to make, and I partially agree and partially disagree with the person who posted that. And the reason is because in an exchange, there's several elements to an exchange. First of all, you have the custody, you have the order matching, you have the liquidity, you have the interface. And I think at the moment, the one thing that we've nailed is the custody, right? The exchange is, well, the Detoken is fully non-custodial, and anyone anywhere can participate in Detoken in one way or another, and be in full custody of their coins. In terms of the order matching and the liquidity, at the moment that is centralized, but the rails are there to decentralize it. The rails are there to allow other people to participate, and it very quickly it goes from a non-custodial app to a full DeFi app, right? And I suppose the other point is that there's no real classification, no real definition of what DeFi is, and I think it's quite subjective because you have sort of CeFi on one side, and you have people gambling on Ethereum contracts on a CoinFlip on the other, and where is DeFi? Is it over here? Is it over here? And I think we're somewhere right in the middle right now, and we're definitely moving towards the fully decentralized side of the scale.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I mean, I guess the only like centralized part of it is like the matching system, right? Because like once it's in the contract, it's in the transaction, right? I mean, that's not under your control then, right? Just like the matching, right?
Yeah. So execution, and so we covered two of the 4 points, right? We have execution, and we also have custody. That's on chain, and then the matching and the interface, that's off chain. That's handled by Detoken. So we're kind of halfway there. And right now, really, the only thing that we can change to make it more decentralized is to move the liquidity into some kind of open network or open protocol where everyone can participate. And I think once we do that, we will achieve, real DeFi, without a doubt.
Cool, cool. So the drop token, CryptoPhil's exchange token's drop token, is that coming back?
Yeah, absolutely. So once we add back SLP tokens, Drop's definitely coming back to Detoken, and there'll be a very similar setup in terms of the rewards and perks we give to people who have Drop, and we're looking at regulatory wise correct approaches for getting Drop token holders a stake in the system, in the ecosystem, whether they have voting rights to some extent, or whether they get dividends. There's no solid roadmap yet that we're willing to commit to, but Drop is a massive part of our community, and as soon as we have SLP, we're definitely bringing Drop back.
Cool, awesome. So yeah, it's one question I had from somebody. Was there? So you guys don't have an order book, and was that kind of like a purposeful thing? Like you didn't want an order book?
Yeah, absolutely. So we decided not to have an order book because this kind of product would become a mess very quickly. If you notice, the price is always fixed, right? There's no spread on the price. You can either hedge or long, and we always have the same rate. So if we were to bring in an order book, we'd have an order book of premiums, and that would be quite hard to manage. That would be quite hard to implement, and you have a lot of slippage there when you buy at one price and then it kind of goes up and up and up. So we chose a Uniswap style approach where the rates are determined based on the proportions of the two sides of the liquidity pool. So when we open source and allow others to participate in the liquidity, it'll be a competitive process, right? It won't be one giant. I don't think it's going to be one giant pool with loads of BCH in it. It'd probably be a bunch of different people running the market making software, the liquidity software, with different constants set in their configuration file. And then Detoken would allow you to choose either yourself who you want to interact with, or you'd be able to get the best possible rate. So there is no order book because it adds a huge amount of complexity to the product. By having sort of a two fixed rates based on the proportion of liquidity. It simplifies the process a whole lot. It simplifies the liquidity a whole lot, and it makes for a better product.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Makes sense. And so, yeah, Anyhedge itself, I don't know if like you guys will kind of. I watched the video you guys did with Hayden, and it was super informational. And so like the name Anyhedge comes from you can like hedge your Bitcoin cash value in anything you want. For example, you could hedge it against like the value of gold. You could hedge it against the value of a potato, right? And so is that type of like non-crypto, for example, gold, is that kind of in your guys' radar too, or are you going to stick like completely with like cryptocurrencies?
We'd love to allow people to speculate on the prices of commodities. I think right now we're at a really early stage where we need to see what people want and what our users want. And I think, to be honest with you, Colin, at the moment, there is a really big demand for crypto derivatives, and I think if we can see a demand for speculating on the prices of other assets, we can definitely work with Anyhedge to implement that. The rails are here. We've done the hard infrastructure work. Right now, it's about hardening our stack and building more products.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, have you gotten any requests to like integrate with, for example, a merchant wallet? So like a merchant gets paid in Bitcoin Cash, but they don't wanna experience the volatility and just hedge. Have you gotten inquiries about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What would that take to like implement? Is that just the kind of wallet hooking up like API or?
Yeah, exactly. We've just got to publish some API documentation and maybe release a client library to make things easier. And anyone anywhere in the world will be able to participate and connect to Detoken and do whatever they wanted.
Yeah, that's awesome because yeah, it's funny. It's like the two like complete opposite ends of the crypto world. That you got like the merchants who just want to get paid in their local currency, and then you got the like complete degenerate traders who just want to 10 times leverage long. And it's like their needs are met when they come together with this a product like this, and they can bet against each other basically. So I think that's really awesome.
Absolutely. What about you, Colin? Is there something you want to see on Detoken? Maybe we can make you a 100x leverage one block contract.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Like 100x leverage for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that'd be cool. I mean, just like a leverage slider. I always thought that was like an interesting thing on BitMEX. It was just like you could slide it and see how much leverage you do and like how much risk you're gonna have. Sliders are fun.
Write that down, and maybe we can do something like that.
A slider. How about a slider for time and a slider for leverage? But I guess if you close the contracts at any time, they can just be perpetuals. So yeah, now you basically got a whole derivatives exchange right here. So just the very basics of it are built out. So it's really cool. It's really awesome. It's really exciting.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good to whoever has feedback for us. We're always listening. We're trying to build the best product possible um, for our customers. We're trying to build new products that weren't possible before on BCH, and now they are and can compete with what's available on centralized exchanges. Because finance should be like this, right? You should be able to deposit your money into a platform. Um, in reality, you're holding the money in your own wallet. No one can take it away from you. You're participating in audited open source software. There's no hacking. There's no centralized hacking risk. There's no fraud risk from the provider. You can run the software yourself, and this is how it should be. And I think it's gonna go towards DeFi in the next decade. And it might take some time, but we've got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I guess there's one more question. So obviously I'm up right now, which is awesome. I'm up 25 bucks for now. So that's nice. Yeah, I'm in profit already. 0.04 BCH. So I might have had to move to Canada to trade. So I'm in Canada right now. So has there been any I'm in Canada. Has there been any problem? You don't allow some countries to access this site. Is that why is that?
Yeah, as much as we'd love to serve the US and other jurisdictions which we're currently not serving, I think as a semi-centralized information provider, or at the very least, order matching provider, we have to be careful not to fall under the scope of regulation, which we're not yet ready to deal with. So we take a very conservative approach. We do our AML. We try not to interact with customers in problematic jurisdictions. And I think over time, as the regulatory landscape becomes clearer and our user base grows, we'll try to make strides to make ourselves available in more jurisdictions and do it in a regulatory compliant way, so that we don't put consumers at risk, and we don't facilitate money laundering. So it's a very delicate balance between having an open and free product for everyone and offering good user experience. Detoken's value add is essentially our liquidity and our user experience. And in order for us to continue to do that, we've got to be very careful about where we work and how we work.
Yeah, for sure. I think you guys nailed the user experience. I mean, it's like it's basically just like Uniswap. I mean, Uniswap, if you don't cut the transaction fees that are just like absolutely atrocious on Ethereum, and those random when Ethereum like cancels your transaction because they're running out of gas, and then you lose your transaction fee, but your transaction didn't go. Anyways, not counting that, it's like Uniswap. So that's awesome. So I congratulate you guys on this. I know people have been waiting for a long time for this, so I think you guys nailed it. So
thank you, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, it is just like Uniswap, but it's a lot faster and it's a lot cheaper to use. So I'm super excited to see what else we'll be able to build with the guys at General Protocols. We, by the way, have done a fantastic job of doing something that's never been done before on BCH and probably on any Bitcoin-based blockchain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Any questions in the chat for Semyon? If not, we'll wrap it up. Hopefully I don't get liquidated again. That'd be rough if I got liquidated on this one down to 300s. Oof. Whew. Have you been hedging? Have you been hedging, or you said you got? How's your trading experience been on Anyhedge or on Detoken as a user?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been good. I put in 0.2 BCH, and I've been entering contracts every day to test the system. Obviously, in a fair way. Detoken doesn't have access to the price oracle that's operated by General Protocols. So I've been trading just as a regular user every day, and it was going well, and then I think I got liquidated yesterday during a bunch of summer liquidations. So.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, there is one thing. You guys are on Transaction Street, txstreet.com now, which is awesome. So there's an Anyhedge house over here, and you can click on it, and you can see. I gotta switch my screen. You can go to txstreet.com, and then it says house right here, and then you can go to it, and then you can see people that got liquidated, and I believe the only ones that show up here are the contracts that got settled, right? Like it's not like any new contracts. I'm not sure if you know.
Yeah, what's really interesting is you can't actually see new contracts because of the anonymity of Anyhedge's General Protocols Anyhedge contract. So by nature, you don't know anything about the contract until the money out of the contract has been spent, which happens when it expires. So you'll only be able to see liquidations there, or when the contract expires naturally.
Gotcha. Cool. So you can't what's the trading term? You can't stop hunt. You can't stop hunt Detoken positions. So cool. Look at that. Bitcoin Cash is 1/5 the transaction volume of BTC right now. That's awesome. And so here's a question. Predictions on the value locked up in Detoken in a year. Ooh.
I think if we're able to deliver on our roadmap and open up the liquidity pool for anyone, I think we can be 20 to 100 times of what we are now, which is in the region of sub 50,000, around 50,000. So I wouldn't be surprised if we'd be at anywhere up to 10 million in that much time, if not more. I think it's just a matter of time, right?
Yeah, that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. So it's special to be right here in this moment for Bitcoin Cash. How nice. How nice. Indeed, I agree. It's really cool to see all these new opcodes being put to work. So Super excited. So I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much, Semyon, for your time. You're building an awesome product, and I'm super happy. I'm super happy that it's special to be right here in this moment for Bitcoin Cash, as he says in the chat. So
Likewise, thank you, Colin. I hope you keep using Detoken, and I hope you don't get liquidated this evening.
thank you. Godspeed, and hope you don't get liquidated. Thank you.
Bye-bye.